A Dakota Dunes, South Dakota man is thanking a higher power after getting life-saving care from the medical team at Mercy One Heart and Vascular Care in Sioux City. Tonight, his journey from the golf course to the surgical suite. KTIV's Jessica Bowman has tonight's Healthbeat 4.
I owe my life to this guy. So.
Smiles all the way around. A year ago, Dan McManus thought it wouldn't be him.
I was playing Whistling Straits with my son and 6 of his 30-year-old buddies.
Now rewind to the last week in June 2024. McManus was in Wisconsin, nestled along the Lake Michigan coastline, navigating a challenging landscape. Life was good.
I got a hole-in-one on the 12th hole at Whistling Straits.
Days later, he started feeling a little under the weather, battling a cough, congestion in his chest. He thought he had an upper respiratory cold. Several days passed and still no sign of any relief.
My wife convinced me on Saturday, Dan, it's time to go to the ER and get you checked out.
So he checked into the emergency department at Mercy One.
Once got to the ER, I was there just a few minutes. All of a sudden, the blood work results came back and my cardiac enzymes were through the roof. And I was having a heart attack.
We did the heart catheterization and we found multiple blockages.
Interventional cardiologist Dr. Nabil Brida said his heart function was extremely weak.
We had to put first a device, it's a mechanical support device that goes through to the heart and helps the heart pumping.
After a 3-hour surgery,
his blockages were very complex and calcified, so we had to use something called rotational atherectomy. It's a drill that drills in the calcium of the vessel.
He woke up with 3 stents.
So that procedure actually is one of the most complex procedures in interventional cardiology.
They had great results with the procedure and McManus would soon be discharged, but the medical team wanted him to go home with a life vest. The life vest is a cardioverter defibrillator. It's worn around the chest and can send an electric shock to the heart if the patient has a heart arrhythmia.
I went home on Monday. On Tuesday morning, I was talking with my wife and my son and collapsed, and the vest went off, shocked me back into rhythm.
He had a cardiac arrest where his heart stopped. It saved his life too.
He was rushed back to the ER.
Talking to Dr. Shaw, who's the electrocardiologist here at Mercy One, and Dr. Shaw said, well, Dan, you've proven to us that you need a permanent defibrillator, so we'll be looking at that, and that's the last thing I remember. I coded right in front of the doctors here in the emergency room.
His life saved more than once in a matter of days. McManus went home with a pacemaker and then underwent 6 weeks of cardiac rehabilitation, leading him to a full recovery.
I'm very lucky. God must have had some other plan for me.
It's KTIV's Jessica Bowman reporting. McManus is now 68. His heart function has improved, and this golfer says his checkups are up to par. To learn more about the heart and vascular care at Mercy One, check out this story at KTIV.com.